Hello, sexy souls. Thank you for watching Truth Talks TV. I am your host, Katarina Ilic, along with my luscious guest here, Allana Pratt, who is an author, speaker, relationship coach, and intimacy expert, which I love that title. So welcome, Allana. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, I love the name of your show, too, Truth Talks. I mean, who wants to talk about anything else other than the truth? That's how, why lie? Why be fake? Why shine people on? Like, let's just get right down to it. So Thank you for today.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. So one of the things I wanted to ask you is, what is an intimacy expert, really, and how did you become one?
Well, I just made it up. I'm not just about relationships, and it's almost like that's phase 2. Phase 1 is about our intimate relationship with ourselves, like telling the truth to ourselves, being vulnerable with ourselves. Can we actually honor and not beat ourselves up? Can we get to that place of gratitude for the foibles and the failures and see them as the gems and gifts that they are and become integrated within ourselves? Because if we can do that, to me, we seem closer to God, closer to the universe, closer to the oneness that we truly are. Yes. We can sort of walk as a human on the planet knowing we're a spiritual being when that inner relationship is solid. And then when you get into a relationship with another, things tend to go so much better. And the regular use of the word intimacy can really start to come into profound play. But not until we have that intimate relationship with ourselves first.
Yeah, and how do we even cultivate that, really? Because I've been hearing, it feel like intimacy is something that keeps on sort of, it's being talked about, it's being, it's out there. People are like, I could feel this energy around it. And then I think about, well, what is it really? How do we really even get to that place of intimacy with ourselves? Because like you said, there's no intimacy with another unless you are intimate with yourself first.
Right. Well, I think the word vulnerable, and you were just referring to an email of mine that you read last week on my site, and I was very vulnerable with my community. And in general, every week I get feedback from people. They have a couple comments here and there. Hundreds of novels came through. So I'm really touching a chord with this vulnerable sharing of what's going on and the bold, brave decisions I'm making as a result of it. And none of that would have been possible had I not had this intimate relationship with myself. So I'll just go for the one of the keys of intimacy is, can we honor our truth? Like the name of your show, Truth Talks. Do we even take the time to tell the truth? So many times we function outside of ourself over there, judgment, blame, superior, inferior, dominates, in all of this kind of stuff, look good, totally coming from panic, fear, terror, of trying to be in control, trying to feel safe, wanting to be held, wanting to be seen, wanting to be valued. All of that external spinning doesn't get us anywhere. And even if we succeed for a moment, we could lose it. So we got to hang on tighter. So there's no cheese down that tunnel. So one of the ways to get intimate is to turn all of that back within yourself and start to be kind to that place that you're ashamed of, terrified about. And literally, like, I feel like I have this preschool of little Allanas. And and I'm like the mummy Allana. And, part of it's scared, terrified. Where's that knight on shining armor? I'm like, that's Disney, honey. That's not real life. So, you got to talk to all the parts of you with kindness and care. And when you cannot make them wrong, well, you need to change, stupid, afraid girl. You need to buck up. She's not going to change if you make her wrong.
Right.
So as a parent, as a mother, I've learned a lot about how to bring up the best in my son. If I judge him, if I make how he is wrong, he won't change. He'll dig his heels in more. And the same is true about our inner self. If we can start to honor, and maybe allowance is another great word to bring up now, which doesn't mean right or wrong, good or bad. It doesn't mean that we need to change in order to be okay. It's like, I love you, warts and all.
Yeah.
And when that begins to occur, and you can do mirror work for this, you can do journaling work for this, you can work with a coach like me for this, you can go to workshops. There's a lot of ways you can go at this. You can do body work. You can go to dance class. I mean, there's tons of things you can do, but it's like, go face that part of you that you've been resisting, and do so with kindness, care, tenderness, and love. And alchemy, grace will start to occur. And the feeling will be of coming home. The feeling will be of being at peace in your skin. And the experience of being around you, people will think you're safe, honoring. Oh, there's that something about her. They'll start to say, even to the point where you'll become attractive, even seductive, but in a not a manipulative way. Like you become this vortex, like a sanctuary for people to be real. Yeah. And because you're at peace with you and they're at peace with them, with you. And it's sort of like, okay, now let's let the games begin. Now where can we go? Now that we're being totally real.
Right, exactly. And so, like, I noticed even because I have, these emails now that I send out as well, and that's exactly what I'm going through now. Like, okay, well, how much do I share? What do I? And not even really out of like trying to hold back or anything per se. Although, I mean, who knows what's actually inside me? That's but yeah. It's like it's just wondering how much you don't want to like talk about yourself maybe too much, like it's not all about me, but then like you said, when you're vulnerable like that, maybe you're really going to hit home with some people and strike a chord with them. Why are we so afraid, or actually also the other thing too, being a teacher, maybe like how you are, you're out there also kind of, there's another, what comes with that sort of territory is, well, I'm supposed to be teaching, so shouldn't I know? Shouldn't I know things, right? So if I come and be, what did you say?
I said, shouldn't I be perfect?
Right. So then it's like if you're being vulnerable and actually being real, then it's like, well, then is anybody going to want to pay me for my services, or all those kind of debates that we can have. So what is it that keeps us from being vulnerable? All this fear.
Well, that's exactly what it is. You just articulated it perfectly. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. I remember in my journey of becoming an online personality, for lack of a better word, I would send out an email and my manager would say, we're cutting the email because we're getting so many opt-outs. It was too raw. It was too much. And so I watched myself go from this like authentic sharing to this box. Can't do that, shouldn't do that. And even other colleagues would write to me and say, don't you talk about that. That really, destroys your credibility. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they make more money than I do, so they must be right. Like all this kind of stuff in my head. And basically, I was putting so much pressure on myself to be somebody I wasn't. And I was going farther and farther away from me. I was hating my business. Right. I was hating what I was doing. I'm like, what am I doing? So I said, you know what? If they don't like me, that's okay. That's their choice. They can opt out. And the people that do like me will opt in. Yeah. And if I'm supposed to serve a little gaggle of 10 people, okay. And if I'm meant to serve 10 million, okay. But let's just make it be about being real. And maybe I make my colleagues nervous because I am so courageously vulnerable. And if really people want to learn from me, they'll stay. And I think the gift when we can be vulnerable, which doesn't mean self-deprecating. It doesn't mean in the drama of the moment, sharing, whatever, right. Like when you want to kill somebody. Yeah. But it's like it's sharing the journey so that wherever they are, they don't make themselves wrong either. Like I remember writing one email where the whole weekend long I was like crying, couldn't stop crying, and then I drank a bottle of champagne, and then I ate like some chips. I'm like, okay, ate the whole bag of chips, like I told the total truth, right? And so I finally got to that place where it shifted, and again I got so many emails back that day of like, wow, thanks for letting me know I'm not the only person that has trouble being, positive and confident every day. And it's the opposite's occurred. People are closer to me now, and more vulnerable with me. And it takes so much energy to store all this crap inside of us to be able to just go blah and let it out. All of a sudden, it's kind of like everything gets quiet in the mind. The heart softens. We get, more grounded in our body. We get out of that. What's the difference? Sympathetic, parasympathetic, freak out, adrenal high, right. Or like fight, flight, right? Or the calmness. We can get to that calm place and our body gets healthier. We start to think more clearly. And I really think we become this channel to the divine. We can hear the guidance. We can hear ourselves when we can more regularly be vulnerable, because your whole life isn't about, do I need to be 3 steps ahead? You get to just be present. Just be present. And I honor you for being willing to show up as a personality out there, because it's a great personal growth experience to put yourself through.
Yeah.
Because you get triggered by everything, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like you said too, it's like, whether you're serving the 10 or 10 million, but you being you being real, you're going to draw in people who resonate with that. And that's what's, why want something fake? Why want something that's not real, and yeah. So let's get into this then, because this is really interesting, I have to say, about this email that I saw just the other day, because we scheduled this interview like weeks ago, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so then I see this email from you, and where you're being vulnerable, possibly about this move, and all these things that I was like, oh my God, I'm so resonating with this. Like, how perfect is this interview that it's coming now? Because I'm kind of going through the same thing. So if you would please elaborate on what is it that you're, a little bit about that story, and sort of even possibly like you might just be house sitting. You're leaving your home. Like, what's going on?
I never knew I was this courageous. But when you've tried everything, so I basically tried for 10 years to get along with my son's father after the divorce. And so like, there's only a problem if it's 50-50 pushing, right? A tug of war. If it's 51-49, there's no more problem, right? That we can look at that scientifically. Or like a tug of war. If 2 people are pulling, one lets go, it ends. The war ends.
Right.
So I've been trying to make this work, and I have worked really hard, and nothing's worked. And so my son said to his teacher, I just want to kill myself. I hate my life. And he's in the midst of these 2 people that just can't get along. And I've tried every therapy known to humanity, every prayer, anything money could buy, anything prayer could do. And I'm like, okay, so what there is for me to do is to let go of this tug of war. And when it was like it was presented to me 51 or 49, I'm like, I'm going to win. But that's what I've been trying for 10 years, to be the more conscious, to be the stronger, to do the right thing, all this kind of stuff. And none of it was working. So I decided to let go of custody for a trial period of time to see if that would help my son get out of the fighting. And I have never cried harder. I've never been... It's like if my son died, it would be easier. Really.
Wow.
It would. So I need to know that he's not with me. I need to know he's with the person that's life mission is to hate me. It's like, oh my God. And my internal growth is to know he's, a sociopath or whatever, narcissist, whatever you want to call him. And he has a soul. And there was a time when I loved him. And half of my son is this person who's so evil to me. So it's like, there's just like, I'm not here to say I've got it all figured out. However, I know it's the right next step. It might not be the end all be all. Like maybe he'll live with him for a couple of years and then I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. But I do know it's the right step, because as soon as I said it to my son, initially he was like, no. But then I said, look, you can stay for a week, a month, or until you're 18. And no matter what you choose, I love you. And I'm going to see you every 3 weeks. I'm going to see you every summer. And if you are happy, that's why I'm doing this. You are going to thrive no matter what. And in 6 months, we're going to go back to the court, and we're going to just see how you are. And if you want to go in a month, I can be in court in 24 hours. Anything you need, I'm there for you. I go, but we're going to talk about it. And if it doesn't work, we'll try something else. And if that doesn't work, we'll try something else. I will not give up until you are thriving. And he was like, and I could sort of see him get bigger, because he hasn't been able to choose. He's either choosing mommy or daddy, or not mommy or not daddy, depending on what parent he's with. Yeah. He doesn't know who he is. Yeah. And the very next day he goes to school, and he comes home and he goes, I finished all my homework before recess. And I'm like, don't you always do that? Like, I didn't even know. He goes, oh, no, Mom, it's so hard to think. So hard to concentrate. He goes, I could totally think today.
Wow.
Because he's out of the vice. He's out of it, right? And even last night he was with me, and we were, lovely things are being said, like he's being told that I'm abandoning him, that I'm being a selfish woman. Like, he's being told all these lovely things. So it's like, okay, here we go into the fire even more of what this is going to be like. And I go, really? Is that what I'm doing? And he's like, no, you're doing this for me. So I go, yeah, yeah. And for me too, baby. For me too. I'm not thriving. I had a much higher net worth before the divorce. I have way more courage now, but I'm single. I'm not in a relationship. I'm not sharing my life with somebody. My business is good, but I can imagine a lot greater and more glorious things I could be doing. So it's not working for me either.
Yeah.
So I'm unwilling to be in I love my cottage, looking at his empty room every day. I can't do that. That would be like guaranteeing hell. So if life is really up to me and I'm choosing what would be honoring of me, back to that intimate relationship again, back to that vulnerable place of, okay, so it's going to be a time of a lot more coaches and healers than normal. It's going to be a time of being around people that love me and might have my back, right? Maybe go stay with different friends that really love me. It'll be a time of what lights me up so that I'm not focusing on how much I miss him. I'm filling myself up so that when I do see him every 3 weeks, I have something to contribute, and that I'm not trying to control the situation or what did he say about me? Like, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah.
And give him space to, like, the healthier I get, we're connected. The healthier I get about all of this, the more forgiveness work I do, the more taking care of me and being creative and happy, the more I do, we're always connected. That'll support him in making the best decision, in seeing clearly and being grounded and conscious as well. So it's sort of like when mama's happy, everybody's happy. No, really, it's true. So he hasn't signed the papers. In fact, just like an hour before our interview, I got finally the papers back from him of my proposal. So I'll look at what he said, and if we have to go to court about it, great. If we don't, great. If he agrees, great. If he doesn't, we'll keep doing this. But again, it's another opportunity of like, I want to be able to know what my dates are so I can plan a plane ticket or plan house sitting, and he's not giving me that. It's another opportunity, like the past 10 years with him. Am I going to let his actions determine my happiness? Am I going to let his actions determine my creative capacity to do anything I choose? Or am I going to just stay in this poor little me prison? I have a horrible ex-husband. No, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm like, okay, so what's possible? What's possible, given I don't have this paper signed yet? How can I honor myself? How can I take care of myself and be vulnerable? How can I be grateful for exactly what is and choose? I'm like, okay, well, where could I drive then? I can drive somewhere. And I have a truck. So I'm going to go maybe stay. I don't know yet. I haven't decided, but I can go stay with some different friends. I've been taking actions, calling people that I haven't been as in touch with, who I would love to see.
Yeah.
The girl, me, who 23 years ago got on my Uncle Phil's 18-wheeler semi-truck and left Canada down for there's a traveling goddess in me that hasn't done much of that. So, off I go. And have, have my own back and let the universe have my back. When I've been trying to do it myself and keep it in control for all of these 10 years, like let go and hold me all at the same time. Yeah. It's a pretty wild time.
Yes. And that's what it sounds like. I mean, yes, like I applaud you for, this is so incredibly courageous of you. That's amazing that what you're doing. And like you said, honoring yourself and, doing this and trusting that what you're doing is for your highest good, for his highest good, no matter what other people are going to say, right? Because, if we live our lives that way, that's, but it sounds like you don't really even know what's next right now. And
funny joke, because do we ever really, please, really? Are we ever really in control? No, right? We have this illusion, but we never know. Like, people die out of the blue, or we get new jobs out of the blue, or who knows, our whole banking system could fall and all of our money will be obsolete. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. Aliens could arrive tomorrow. Who knows?
Right.
So where is that place of sanctuary and peace? How can I have the footing in midair? It's just bringing me home to me. And I'm not totally there yet.
Right.
But I'm closer than I've ever been to gratitude for my ex-husband's behavior Because if he had been even an ounce nice, I wouldn't be jumping off this cliff into the arms of the divine, growing my own wings, holding myself, you know? So it's a bittersweet gift, but that's how I choose to look at it.
Yeah, and that's just it. Like, I can see myself, because I'm in that same place right now where I took sort of a leap a couple years ago when I just moved to Belgrade. I'm from Chicago, born and raised, but I moved to Belgrade. My parents are Serbian, so I had some family here, but it was still a pretty big move for me because I didn't have any real logical reason for coming here. It was just like following my heart. This is what I'm doing. So now here I am. I was in Chicago for a few months. I'm back in Belgrade to kind of like I feel like complete some things. And I really don't know I don't know what's next. I mean, I don't even know, right now I'm like at a friend's place and it's like, okay, next week maybe I'll be somewhere. I mean, I don't know. And it feels sometimes, again, because of our minds and maybe pressure from, family or whoever, it feels kind of irresponsible. Like, what do you mean, you don't know? Like, you have to make a plan. You gotta make a plan. Like, and I'm like,
No, actually you don't. Yeah.
And that's what I think, is the big call right now almost, is just to really, I've known this stuff about really sort of being able to trust and moment by moment stuff, but it's like, okay, Kat, you've known it, but let's really freaking live this right now.
Yeah, I so honor you. And you probably just make all the people around you highly uncomfortable because you are showing them that there's another reality to live, finding peace someplace else, not in a plan that can be changed like this, which they know, but they don't want to admit that. Otherwise they'd have to feel fear. So you're an invitation for them to look at the fear that they don't think is there, that's there. And I applaud you, because when we pioneers do that, we either it's so funny. It seems like on two scales, it's really intense. And then the middle is sort of the middle. But people either hate you, will call you every name in the book, or you'll be their guru. Oh my God, you're my inspiration, right? So it's like these two forces, but it's the same aspect that we're bringing to the light. These people are willing to see the light or take the gift. These people are not. But it's the same invitation.
Yeah, exactly. And where does that, I mean, I can still feel myself as much as I trust, but I'm also still there's still that fear well, what if it doesn't work out? What if I really just, I don't even know. But it doesn't almost feel it almost feels like I can't really go there though. It almost feels no, I know. It'll just sort of, where do you find the courage, I guess, and the trust or the knowing?
Well, it's not like I know what's going to happen.
Right.
I just know I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Because wherever I go, there I am again. So I'm not going to go anywhere. So there's no sense going way out into the future, because I'm going to be there too. So let's just stay present in this moment, in the next moment, and the next moment, and know that I at least know if something feels good or not. Something feels light or not. If something feels honoring or not. If something feels like home or not. And if it doesn't, make another choice and choose something else. Or maybe I'll only know, I just sort of knew I wanted to connect with some of my old friends. I didn't know that they would say, oh, come stay with me. I didn't know that. I just knew that, oh, it's time to stop hiding and putting on the happy face that everything's fine. No, it's actually been really tough, and I could really use your love right now. So you still have to take action. Even if you don't know, you still have to follow the whisper.
Yes.
Take one little step. I was in a reality show these last 3 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was awesome. It was about dreams. And it was another very courageous move for me, because I'm normally the one who's the leader, the teacher. And for this one, I was the participant. So it was actually really great, because I was a mess. And it was good. But she asked us to look at our dreams. And this morning, as I was waking up, the dream that was happening was about timeshares. And was there a whole month available at a timeshare? And I'm like, because here I am doing house sitting, where I'm like, I'm like, okay, I heard you. Maybe I'm supposed to make a call to somebody that has a timeshare. I'm like, who knows? But just listen to the whispers, listen to the dreams, listen to the synchronistic events that happen. Because I really believe when we get out of this, spin, more intimately connected with our breath and our truth, and we relax that body so we can actually start to hear, and hear in the dream, or hear with the synchronicity in life. We're being given these signs all the time. We're given the signs that, why did you marry him, Allana? Like, lots of those signs were given to me, but I didn't want to listen, right? Or where am I going to move to? That the signs are there, and just to follow, not what people say, but what feels good. Right now, mountains feel good to me, so I'm just going to go with that. Drive to the mountains. Yeah. Okay. And if it changes, I will allow myself to follow that too. And I'm just really grateful that what I thought I needed to feel safe and secure is a lie. And I thought I was super surrendered and close to the divine, but I have a ways to go. And I thought I had done a lot of forgiveness work. And I'm saying, and this, all this is true. I do my work. Yeah. And for my soul, this is the next chapter of work for me to do.
I love it. It's so inspiring. How is this all related to sexiness? Because something there, what you said, I follow what feels good, right? But so often we don't. It's about the shoulds and about what, again, societal conditioning, all this stuff. So how is it all tied into sexiness? Because I feel like that there is this connection with that.
There is.
Because, and everybody wants to feel, I mean, don't you think? Like, I feel like everybody wants to feel sexy, but everybody's looking out for a different, I mean, completely at the wrong thing to feel sexy. So I'd love to hear your take on that.
Yeah. Well, I think if we think sexy is where you feel like you're the shit. You're strutting your stuff, like you're at peace in your body. You're like, bring it, life, like bring it on, like if you dare. Yeah. And you're like temptressy, sultry, or if you're a guy, you're kind of like badass. Like you feel unstoppable and you feel delicious all at the same time. I used to think to find that was about getting a certain look and then getting the approval that I'm sexier than her and you chose me, kind of thing. Or like I thought that's what sexy, I knew I was sexy if I did that. And no, that's incorrect. That's like the little girl in me wanting approval and all of that. So that's not sexy. For me, what sexy is and how it comes into to play with this is one of the most alluring, seductive qualities is someone who is completely non-judgmental of themselves, completely at peace in the moment. 10 ninjas, come on in, ninjas, like whatever, like, whatever's going to happen, like, okay. You're in the moment, at peace. You're at peace in your body, and you've got this. Bring it, universe. Yeah. I can handle it. Bring it. So that's a kind of sexy. And when you're with someone else, and they can't take you off your center, and they can't like ignore you for a minute. You're like, no, pay attention. If you're like, yeah, whatever, bring it, whatever. That opens a door to a whole other range of intimacy, because I'm not going to judge my body. I'm not going to judge your body. I'm not going to judge if you want to hang from the chandelier, S&M, whatever, it's fine. Like nothing's going to throw me. Total allowance of you, total allowance of me, which is just what's going on in life. Total allowance of my life, my fears, my whatever. You bring all of that into the senses and into the union of our beautiful bodies. And there's the communication of honor and authenticity going on. It's like, wow, it's a whole other realm of connection, of which copulation is part of it. Yet it's just a part of such a vast, limitless way of connecting with another human being. And you can have sex. Yeah, I guess there's the copulation kind for sure, but you can have that union or communion, that giving and receiving, that sex with the breeze, with the sunshine, with a flower. Yeah. Even, I mean, we're not like flashing our tits to each other, but like we're being girls and we're doing this like, hi, here's me, show me you. Like on some level, this is a giving and receiving of this beautiful creative energy that's possible. Yes. So sexy, if you can, blow the doors off the definition of it and just let it be this 24/7 communion with life, you'll feel delicious. And even if you're feeling like crap and you're sad and you're scared, you're still not denying you or denying the moment. You're still doing your best to go, open and be.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not perfect at it, but this is my practice. This is what I like to teach and inspire. And it does get better and better.
Yeah, on your site it says that you overcame like your own body shame and sexual guilt. I mean, of course it is. I mean, I would think it is a process, and we're constantly working on these things. But was there anything in particular that helped you to do that?
Coming out of hiding, like the email you read a couple days ago, coming out of hiding and sharing what's going on with my son's father and my son, well, all of that, that's one way of coming out of hiding. For the sexual part, I interviewed Sheila Kelly of S Factor on my show back in December. And I had never told anybody that I was a topless dancer, like for 20 years. And she just owned it. And I did this, then this for a movie. And then I started this whole business. And I'm like, oh my God, the degree of self-judgment that's going on as I was doing the interview, I just couldn't be with it anymore. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to tell you, this is what I did. And she's like no big deal to her, right? Whatever. She's like, that's awesome. You should get into my class, because just like I, in my coaching sessions, can transform the shame or the guilt or the self-abuse or the rape or whatever had happened into this gift, and then take the power from that, the lesson, integrate it, embody it, and have a new choice in life, create new results in life. Like that's what I do with energy. She does in class, in a dance class. And up until then, I only felt safe in sacred dance classes, feminine classes, which I love, but I would literally close my eyes because I couldn't integrate it into the world. It was like, I go to my little dance class, close my eyes, everything be perfect. And then I would open my eyes and be like, I'd be like back in shame again. I couldn't like bridge it.
Right.
For some, that was just maybe other people can, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got into Sheila's work and no mirrors, just women and cheering each other on, total space to cry, total space to be nasty, kinky, or just reverent and goddess-like. Like anything goes, and it's all perfect, and it's all beautiful, and it's in the body, embodied. And I did it for 6 months. I just completed my last series because I'm going to be moving now. But I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I'm going to go back, and it's been a very big gift to me to shift the sexuality that I was using to get attention, get validation, to another avenue home, to the oneness that I am, and to transform what I believe sexy is into a 24/7 orgasmic communion with the divine, which is what's possible.
Yeah, exactly. I took a class as well. I love to dance, so I did take a class. I didn't end up, sticking with it, but I loved it. I mean, I totally could see myself doing it, but just at the time, it just wasn't something that I guess was willing to put, just financially and things like that. I was just like,
it's not cheap.
Exactly.
It's like weak and
Yeah. So, but I absolutely love it. I mean, I love the whole concept, and I love what it can do for you, of course. But that is, I mean, what you just said is exactly what I've been feeling, because I feel that sometimes people think that, and this is where our shame or our sexual guilt or whatever sexual shame comes from, right? Is like feeling that it's somehow separate, it's somehow dirty. Yeah. And, I even just did recently an interview that I titled with another friend. I titled it Love, Sex, and God. And then talking to a friend of mine, she had said something like, I would never have thought to put those two words next to each other, sex and God, because one is clean and pure and one is dirty. And I was like, wow.
Well, that is a point of view, but it's not an empowering point of view. And I don't really believe it's real.
Right.
No.
Well, yeah.
I think... anything unknown. I was just saying this to my son this morning as we were driving to school. Anything unknown, one choice is to make it wrong. We were talking about same-sex marriages, my son. And he listens to this like Macklemore, the guy at Thrift Shop, that song. And he has this beautiful song about same-sex marriages, etc. And I was explaining that to my son. I go, well, people that don't understand it can immediately make it wrong. I go, I said the very first time you ever saw an Asian boy or girl or a African American, like, and you didn't never seen them before. As a little boy, he'd walk up and he'd touch their face. And you'd be like, wow, because it was new and different.
Yeah.
And I was honoring my son that he didn't make it wrong. He got curious. And that's been one of my things with diversity. I really want to help him like travel around the world so that anything that's different, you meet it with curiosity, not with judgment. And I think with sex, there's so much unknown for people that, if you just put it in a little small box and you can try to contain it.
Yeah.
And if we make everybody else wrong, they will calm down and not make me feel uncomfortable with all these things I don't understand. So when we can understand the survival mechanism around it, you can go, oh, I don't choose that. That doesn't work for me. So you can destroy that. Destroy that box for yourself. Destroy the shame. Return it to sender. The things I learned in Access Consciousness, which really helped to quickly shift things. I did this DVD with Dr. Dane of Access Consciousness called Your Delicious Body. And that's really what we did. We just, everything about sex, intimacy, body, relationships, everything, all those boxes that hold us in shame, we just went like just ninja'd our way through the whole thing to just destroy it all so we could get to that intimate place of truth. What's true for me? We don't even know. We can't hear, we can't feel, we can't sense. We don't know if we are polyamorous or monogamous. We don't know if we like this style or that style. We don't know anything about even what pleases us and pleasures our body when we're not in our body free of shame. So it becomes, this DVD was like a doorway through to discover yourself, and then to the courage and capacity to communicate that with another. And if they reject you, it is so not personal, and go, thank you, bless you, release you, moving forward, so that even when you do start to know who you are, communicate who you are, and you don't get met with a yes, you don't stop. You go, thank you. Would you like to play and try? And if not, no problem. I'm going to be me and keep moving and not divorce our authentic self-expression once we friggin' figure it out. Right? So it's like this whole process is you don't get there. Once you get there, there's another wave and another wave. And that's the tool that we wanted to give people so that they could have that, just to be like, you can imagine being in bed, having sex, and it's so not authentic, and you're totally doing it to please them, and you're not even present. You're way up on the ceiling, disconnected, and some body's down. I mean, it's like, or total authentic, totally at peace with who you are. Not thinking about, does he see my ass, or is he liking this, or like none of that. You're just like totally present. And this other dimensional thing happens that when you can be no more shame, no more questions or doubt, you're just right present. And so are they. What happens is you sort of Shazam into this whole other reality where there's almost like that figure eight, that infinity symbol. It's like a simultaneous giving and receiving where you sort of don't know where my skin ends and his begins, or hers, whatever. You don't even know gender anymore. You're not in this time-space dimension anymore, and it is truly communion. And that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. Like, that's what's possible. That's why I created that. I didn't know what I was going to talk about to serve the people that are going to watch this, but this conversation truly, that's why. I think one of the reasons why, anyways, we were meant to have this is because that's a tool to be free of shame, to be free of self-judgment, to be empowered to speak your truth, live your truth. You don't like who I am? That's totally cool, no big deal. And we don't stop. And that's sex, that's relationship, that's intimacy with self, that's following your dream and moving to your homeland, that's your job, that's my parenting choice, that's everything. It's like, I know it's called Your Delicious Body, but like, this is the vehicle that we're going to do the whole thing with, so let's get it right so that everywhere you look in your life, you're unstoppable.
Wow. Because there's something to do with that, like, I think a little bit with that shame or the sexual guilt is like, there's almost like a fear, like we talk about like the unknown, right, you just said, and I feel that there's a fear that like if we're too sexual or too, just honest and raw about it, that will be promiscuous, that will be like all just having sex like animals all over the place. But I'm like, that's not that's not really what, that doesn't, and that's not what my experience, but it's like, that's not really what happens, because that's not what we technically want. I think what we really want is connection. I mean, so how do you see that? Like, because I could even see myself sometimes, like, I really still have a little bit of that, or I don't know if it's old fashioned or if it's just truly my desire. Like, I don't necessarily want to explore that with, Joe Schmo and Bob. I want that with, a partner that I connect with on many levels, so what is that? How can we get over that? I guess that fear,
It's a great thing. It's something that I've also dealt with as well. This concern that if I really let myself be free, I might. Now, where do we just go? Present or future? Future. Okay. Right. So all of a sudden we're not in charge anymore. It's no longer a truth. We're no longer having an intimate communion with ourselves. We're out there, and out there happens to be where everybody's judgments are. All the oaths and the vows and the suppression and the year that, that lifetime when you got your head cut off, and the other one when you got burned at the stake, and all that, that's where we are. We're way out and all that crap. So in this DVD, what we also do is we destroy and uncreate that place that hooks us in. And he calls it, what does he call it? Distractor implants. And he calls it he has these things called clearings in this, it's a DVD and then a clearing MP3. And so all those places we go, which clearly you can now see is not the present moment, it's the future. Where and then we get hooked into the consciousness of the planet, and we think it's us. That's the lie. It's not. So there's processes in this to go, okay, all of that, return to sender. Anywhere that I bought that as mine, that I would be this promiscuous slut, I destroy that. And anywhere I decided that being a promiscuous slut is bad, maybe I'd like that. Right? I'll destroy that too. So you just go layer after layer after layer. And if you don't do this, you just stay stuck, spinning inside. So this DVD and the clearings allows you to clear everything you could think of until you just come home to you and to your truth. That would you let yourself be the huge potency you are and know that you're good. You're just a good, true, right soul. You just are. We all are, right? Just let ourselves come home to that, and then from that place choose. And have enough courage to show up and discover who you really are. I'm still teetering. It's really funny. I adore Dane. He's one of my greatest friends and teachers. And some days he's like, so you hate me today? I'm like, yeah, I hate you today. He's like, why? I go, because you're out there just living your life and having relationships with different people. You're just free. He's not a married man, right? He's out there single and his relationship is with consciousness, and he's an extraordinary man. And here I am with my ex-husband and my son, and I'm all jealous of him. He's like, you're just jealous. And I'm like, I go, but yeah, there you are in full choice. And he goes, well, you could be in full choice. Choose. He goes, or you could just hate me. And I go, I don't want to hate you. I love you. So it's even these very vulnerable moments are in our DVD. I cry. I scream, I snort. We have this orgasm scene, not together, but we pretend. It's very funny. It's a hot product. So you can watch two powerful people be totally vulnerable and go through it all. And as I'm stepping out into this new realm for myself, being authentic with me, I'm so would I like one partner? Or is that the wounded little Allana who's looking for her knight in shining armor, who thinks Disney movies are real? I don't know. But I'm only going to know if I show up. And I be that potent woman with one man. Maybe I'm too much for one man. Maybe I'll need 2 or 3 men. I don't know. And maybe I will meet somebody amazing, but I'll only know if I show up.
Yeah.
I'll only know if I give myself permission to be me. And I'll only know if I show up in my fullness and I'm too much and I decide to shrink. I did that. He didn't make me do that. I did that. So I choose to stay big. And when I get there, I'll tell you who I am. Maybe there'll be 1, maybe there'll be 10. I don't know. Yeah. But it can't be all bad because I'll be Allana. And at the core, Allana's good. And Kat is good. We're good people.
Yeah.
Dane is a good man. He's such a gift in my life. So many people I meet on my path are good people. This reality show, Kelly Sullivan Walden, dream therapist, 3 days of this reality show. She's a good woman. She does great work. So we're here for each other.
Yeah.
We got each other's back. And we just keep fumbling forward.
Yeah. And that's what's beautiful, what you just said. You have to ask those questions. You have to be willing to ask those questions, like you said. Wait, do I really just want one partner? Or do I, just but we're so scared to even go there, I think, because of all, of course, just all we're just so scared.
Which is why it's imperative to do the cleaning and the clearing, because how you'll just stay spinning. You got to be able to hear yourself and love whatever you hear. And it can change. Maybe for a period of time, you choose one partner. Maybe then for a period of time, you choose many. Or maybe you have one for the whole time. Or maybe you don't choose any. Maybe you just choose a little bit. Like, be willing to know who you are. Be willing to love who you are. Yes. Be willing to be this in the world. And know that I kind of believe, like, I'm not very religious, but that whole ask and it's given, right?
Mm-hmm. Ask and receive, yeah.
And I know with science, we can prove that. Ask and it's given. So if you ask for your truth, it's given. It be the popular way. It might not be the way your parents think. It might not. But if it's true for you and you ask, it's given. So you will have it. Have it. You'll experience it.
Yeah. I want to end on this really quick. I wasn't planning on asking this, but something tying in with self-love. You just said, love yourself. And maybe if you have any practical ways or how we can really, start to love, because sometimes I think it is going through those questioning, right, to even get there, to get to your truth. But how do you think masturbation plays into all this?
Oh, it's a great question.
Because there's a lot of shame sometimes associated with that too, right? And
oh my God, basically almost anything associated with sex has some shame with it, unfortunately.
Right.
But no, masturbation is beautiful. It's like it's coming home to what brings you pleasure and letting that be okay.
Yeah.
I think there's a way that we do masturbation based on watching porn or something, or as an escape. Sometimes you can do it as an escape. So there's certainly different ways at it. Sort of like there's different ways to even like drink wine, to like really savor it with the meal and friends and family, and other ways just like, let me out of this world, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So I would encourage and invite people that masturbation would be seen as a sacred communion with your body. That's what it is. And you can make it awesome and visualize the divine masculine or the divine feminine or whichever, like just a being of light, adoring with devotion every cell of your body as you touch yourself, and let yourself receive that absolute adoration of exactly who you are, exactly how that hip moves and curves. Like that's exactly how the divine wanted it to be. Exactly. No matter what your shape or size. And when an orgasmic wave occurs, to surrender to it and to welcome it. And whether it's like little ones or big ones or none at all, like there's no goal, just like what all the different ways pleasure could be in your body, so that just the slightest touch of your cheek could be orgasmic for you, when you're that free with your body. And if when you do this particular exercise, you either can't, you won't, there's too much shame, you're stopped, call me up, email me, let's do some coaching. That's what I love to do and help. Get that DVD. You just go to yourdeliciousbody.com. That's where it is. You can see Mr. Handsome Dr. Dane, who I adore. Watch some different videos to get a sense if it's right for you. It's extraordinary. The clearing statement takes me to a place of bliss. It's amazing. And you could do mirror work and just sit there with yourself and just go, okay, today I'm just going to stop abusing you. Hi. There's just a lot of ways you can take little steps every day, but don't give up. Don't give up. You can do.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much, Allana. I appreciate you so very much. So people, Your Delicious Body is the one to get this particular course, but also your site is Allana Pratt. And it is with 2 L's, right?
ALLANAPRATT.com. I have a weekly radio show.
Intimate conversations. Yeah.
Intimate conversations. I have books. I have CDs. My newsletter is really juicy, just to let me inspire you. So sign up for that.
Lots of goodness, yes, for juiciness for people to tap into. I love how raw you are, how real, and just how much you emanate that sexiness. It's incredible. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate you very much.
Thank you for the honor.